Today I'm going to change the washer pump that sits on the bottom of this bottle with the blue top. This is the new motor, but it sits right down under here, behind the wheel and behind the wheel arch. How do I know that it doesn't work? Pretty obvious really. Press the button down. Probably hear it running, no water's coming out. Just here under the bonnet there is a joint, and I've taken that joint apart and run the motor just to make sure that the pipe isn't blocked, and the feed is just so feeble that it's obvious that the pump isn't doing its job anymore. So first thing to do, turn the engine off and then get the front wheel off. To get the wheel off, I've got a 2-ton jack, a telescopic wheel wrench and a ratchet and a 19mm socket. The piece of wood is to protect the undercarriage of the car. Okay, we're looking in the wheel arch now. If I draw back you can just see the top of the disc. We come up and around, there's one of these plastic pop fasteners here that you unscrew the middle and hopefully prise off, and if we go to the other side of the strut we can see that there's another one of those pop fasteners, so I'm going to try and get those out and see if we can progress. Now, down here in the front of the wheel arch are these two metal fixings, and I've discovered by cleaning them up with a plastic brush that they are actually Torx fittings. Unfortunately I have got a Torx bit and that is just about undoing. So we'll get both of these off and see what happens next. So using the Torx bit I've managed to get both of those screws out, and this seems to be some kind of bracket that's attached elsewhere. Get this out from underneath it and see if we can peel this out and get to where the actual bottle must be, which is hidden behind there. So I found another screw up in the top that was there. I've just taken that back out, and now I've found that I can actually pull this plastic out like this, and then there is the washer motor. So at last I can get at it. First thing I'm going to do is take the electrics off and plug the other one in to make sure that it works. Also obviously make sure it is exactly the same motor. Here we go. Okay, so I've just hung the new motor on the electrics. That white terminal has a little metal clip that you have to push inwards in order to disconnect it. So I'm just going to quickly press the button, make sure this is working. Yeah, and that's screaming away, so that's obviously working. Let's see if we can get the other one out now. The bottle is still full of washer fluid because I couldn't siphon it out, so when I take the motor out I'm expecting it to pour into here. So I've moved through the tools and got all this this drip tray in place. I've just popped the motor out, the other one here, and I was kind of expecting loads of water to come pouring out of here, which makes me wonder, is the motor fine and this thing is just completely full of dirt? Well, what I'll have to do is put the other motor on and see what happens, and then work it out from there. This is the pump I removed, and I realised the reason the water stayed in the tank is because there's a rubber seal. This is the one that I've taken off the new pump, left the old one in and pushed the pump straight in, and hopefully that will hold the seal and work straight away. Let's give it a go. Okay, I've let all the water out of it now because nothing was happening, and I've found the original seal, and look at the state of that. No wonder it doesn't work. That's, God knows what that is. It's like blue Hylamar or something. So I may have wasted my £7 on this new motor. Let's see if it's this is going to cure it. Well, now that I've found it's all full of some kind of blue plasticized crap, I'm going to wash it right through with clean water, hopefully till it washes clear. So I've got the new pump on and I filled it up with water, but I don't know if you can see it's dripping. I put a cable tie on there, but that hasn't worked, so I need to get some sealant on there. What I've done is I've made a locking wire seal out of some garden wire, and that seems to be holding it. I've tested it a few times, so now I have to be brave and put it back together. Just before this panel goes back in, I was interested in what those 4 fastenings were for, and if you turn it over, you can see on the back there's some kind of insulation pad. I'm not really sure what that's for. This can't be a heat shield, but maybe it's just to reduce noise getting up into the engine bay. This all takes a bit of manipulation to get in the right place. It's probably easier to put the little plastic ones in first, starting at this end. I don't like these little plastic fasteners, they're so pathetically weak. You can almost imagine them snapping as you're putting them in. You have to take a little screw out of them. Quite often that doesn't want to come out. There we go, that one's come out, that's good. So that can go in there. That pushes in there. The other one that came up behind there clips in at the front. If I get it into the right place in one go. Oh, you can imagine some poor soul on the assembly line trying to do this in a hurry, swearing at it. Oh, rookie. Goes in there. This one goes up in the wing. Make sure that's all clipped in behind that. Go on, there we go. Make sure it's all clipped in the right place. Is it there? Just about. About see that one's back in place, still got the head on it. That one's back in place, the head broke off but the shaft is in there, so I'm just going to leave it. And the Torx fittings, which I can't understand why they've got a slot head cut in them, so maybe somebody else has had a go at this at some point in time. And fortunately no drips coming out the bottom, which is good news. Well, as a bit of a bonus, this dropped out the bottom of the car. And this is one of the plastic engine cover screws that I lost about 2 years ago. So I can put that back in with a captive washer to stop it falling out again. So this is the seal that came out, it's all clogged up, and I realised that it is in fact a filter. It's a bit of a pain in the arse having a filter in a place you can't change. There we go, that's why it stopped working. Still, I've got a brand new motor on there now. And I've got a spare, should it do it again. Marvellous.